warning from more than 24 experts about the use of artificial intelligence.
They're warning, control AI now.
Forget the idea of seeing is believing. Forget the idea of seeing is believing. New technology is making digital media manipulation easier than ever.
The result, phony videos that are popping up online. CBS 2's Natalie Dudridge has the story.
You may have seen this video circulating the internet, ostensibly of former President Obama delivering a speech that he never actually made. It's part of an online video trend called deepfake, and it's hard to tell what's real and what's not.
It's very concerning because as people get better with this software, they will be able to not just put celebrities, they will be able to put like their neighbor, you know, in a video and compromising that person.
Pereira is the vice president of a cybersecurity firm. He says in recent months, the videos started appearing on an online forum called Reddit, created by a program called Fake App. It superimposes videos like this of actor Nicolas Cage's face on another character's body.
And they break your face down into smaller and smaller pieces and then overlay the picture you want, like a Nicolas Cage's photograph, on top of that.
Until recently, the artificial intelligence video technology was only used by major Hollywood productions. But social media apps like Snapchat have made this face morphing technology all too easy. Tech experts are worried it could have serious moral implications, like framing people for crimes, or most recently putting celebrities' faces on X-rated actors.
If they're putting it on like porn stars or something, you know, like that could be detrimental to some people's careers.
In general with technology, it just kind of like freaks me out.
Reddit took steps to ban a number of deepfake groups that had tens of thousands of members. But tech experts say people are still accessing the tool on the dark web, and everyone should be wary of the digital media manipulation.
Hey guys, it's KJ from the Scariest Movie Ever channel on YouTube. Lately I've been noticing a lot of narratives in the media and also in popular entertainment that are lining up perfectly with each other. What exactly are they trying to turn us into? This story caught my attention right here. Tech leaders push for more White House focus on AI. It's because artificial intelligence is going to be a part of that new human evolution, whether we want it to be or not. The warnings of the danger of this artificial intelligence, it's all around us. It's even interesting if you consider the idea of the scrying mirror, or the black mirror. The scrying mirrors have been used by occultists, witches, Satanists for ages as a way to contact the other side, or to open up a portal to another dimension, to receive information from spirits. Which is interesting to me because you may remember this commercial from the Super Bowl a few years ago. It's called The Man from the Future, and it had Liam Neeson in it. But it was all about this new LG OLED TV. Now here's a screenshot from the commercial, and it's showing tons of these OLED TVs, which are, in my opinion, essentially large black mirrors, or scrying mirrors. And I have no doubt that's why they included some of this occult symbolism in the commercial. At one point, this exact symbol right here shows up on the screen, the Ouroboros, symbolic for time, or the end of time. It also reminds me of this footage here. You may have seen this. This just came out over the last few days. It's up in the tundra, and all of these reindeer have been filmed walking in circles. Now, a lot of people are trying to come up with an explanation, but nothing like this has ever been seen before. Nothing like this. Look at this. Even in separate groups, they're spinning in circles. And just the way my mind works, it reminds me of the Ouroboros, or the end of time. We have stories like this. You know, we have man basically trying to become creator, cloning horror. Human clone fears as neuroscientists create life from nothing. This is man playing God. What could go wrong? There's a lot of people just sitting around waiting on the quote mark of the beast, waiting on these RFID chips, totally unaware that this is already being implemented in different parts of our world. Mark of the Beast now active in India as government requires biometric scanning for food purchases and government benefits. And for years now, people have been saying that that's what they're going to wind up doing. It's going to start off with the people that need the government benefits, and eventually it'll extend to all.
It is something you've likely seen in the movies.
Yeah, but it's also happening in real life. People are getting chips implanted in their hands and other places to make daily life a little easier. From opening doors to sending emails, a growing group is all in on the technology. Tonight, Susan Elizabeth Littlefield shows us how some people in the Twin Cities are embracing the extra personal technology that is turning them into human remote controls.
I can carry nearly 80 gigs of data in my head. 160 if I use a doubler. A computer.
Where'd you learn to do that?
Set in the far-off year of 2021, this is the 1995 film, Johnny Mnemonic.
I need a Sinologic 60.
Password and
one of several films that caught the attention of a boy growing up in Richfield.
What little boy didn't like sci-fi? Yeah, I love sci-fi, Star Wars, and I mean all the way through it.
And thus a passion was born.
That to me is a very inspiring concept. We can be more than we're built to be. That's really where a lot of my passion comes, because there's so many limitations and conditions that we have as people that we can overcome if we put a little energy into it and a little technology.
That fearless quest is how the software engineer ended up with a scalpel in front of him and ice by his side.
We'll put the implant, we'll take it out of this device and put it in here.
He's already got several chip implants. Now he's getting another.
This is an NFC chip, so it's similar to what phones have nowadays, where you can tap them to sometimes stickers or keychains. It's the same technology as that uses.
Despite the equipment used,
literally lift a little tiny pocket of tissue with an elevator.
Implants aren't done by doctors or nurses. The go-to in the Twin Cities is a body piercer named Verno.
I'm humbled by it. I'm humbled that anybody would even be interested in having us do that.
Chip makers who sell their products online are relying on piercing artists like Verno to implant the right size technology. He's done about 7 similar procedures.
There is the chip.
There's really not much to it.
Without flinching, Tim endured 6 stitches without anesthesia. Verno's not allowed to use it in the state of Minnesota. But the pain, Tim says, is for gain.
I don't know, was that 3? 6? All right. I love this, actually.
This chip will soon act like the 3 others he has, the ones he uses at his crystal home. A chip in his wrist clears his daily path.
So that unlocks my door.
Operates his computer and phone.
And it turned off my ringer.
And if he has his way, it will do much more.
I'm hoping that this will make it possible for me not to have to carry a wallet or credit cards or keys. Okay.
And he's in good company talking about things like that.
Keys are dumb. It's just not in my nature anymore to check keys.
Tim and his wife, who also has a chip, host regular happy hours in Roseville for people interested in biohacking, using the human body to experiment.
The home automation thing, that's really where I've been spending all my time.
But experiments come with risk, if you ask this artificial intelligence expert from the U.
As far as I know, nobody knows the long-term health implications of those things, so I would never do it myself.
She says the advantage is that because they transmit at close range, unlike cell phones, it would be hard for people to steal information and track people from a chip. She says there is an appeal, but she's not convinced it will ever be universal.
It will be more likely at some point, maybe your smart watch that, is outside your body, then can have, ways to unlock your house, your telephone and everything, but it's not inside your body.
But Tim, whose dogs are also microchipped with information,
the whole family's chipped,
says he's not worried.
There she goes.
And this is the future.
I do. I think every indication is that we're all moving closer and closer to internalizing our technology.
No, I'm going to try something else.
A science fiction fan who says you don't have to be born smart to become intelligent.
Come on, let me in.
And we just saw that story about India implementing the, quote, beast system technology. So, of course, India has an AI plan, artificial intelligence plan, because all of this will wind up being connected. What are they turning us into?
New tonight, a new chapter in the long history of the Boy Scouts of America. The youth organization will now accept transgender kids into its ranks. CBS 2's Tracy Carrasco spoke to a New Jersey boy who was kicked out because he was born a girl.
Like every 8-year-old, Joe Maldonado just wants to have fun with his friends.
Well, I like to go camping. I like to do science experiments. We ate cupcakes and stuff. It was fun, but they ruined it.
In December, Joe was kicked out of Boy Scout Pack 87 in Secaucus, New Jersey, because he is transgender, born a female.
This never happened in my life. I didn't do anything wrong.
Joe has since gotten support from all over the country. And after a month of not hearing from the Boy Scouts, his mother, Christy Maldonado, took their battle to the court last Thursday. She filed a complaint with the State Division of Civil Rights.
This was a wake-up call for him of how society could be so cruel. He didn't understand why. Because he feels like all the other kids.
For more than 100 years, the Boy Scouts of America has deferred to the information on a child's birth certificate to determine eligibility. But late Monday evening, the organization changed its stance, stating, starting today, we will accept and register youth in the Cub and Boy Scout programs based on the gender identity indicated on the application. Joe says he should have been accepted all along.
I feel satisfied, but I don't feel too happy.
Joe tells us he isn't sure if he'll rejoin the Boy Scouts, but is hopeful his story will help other transgender children in the future.
And this is just a very clear example of how broken that beast system, education system, actually is. They don't really care to teach your children common sense or the basics anymore. It's all about government programming. Over the last few months, there have been a lot of stories coming out about this, quote, loneliness epidemic. And as always, there's different talking heads trying to figure out why. And they thought technology was going to save us, right? People thought technology was going to bring us all together. But I believe all this technology is creating a lot of this loneliness, this epidemic of loneliness. Because it's false, it's fake, it's not real. So the system, in a lot of ways, creates this loneliness epidemic. At the same time, this system offers us things like this. New York City's hot millennials only sex club. What are they turning us into? They have robots that are ready to replace babysitters, surgeons, and even pets. And we wonder why there's a loneliness epidemic.
Robots are being used in more and more places, and even serving pizza. They're serving coffee as well.
Yeah, you name it. But a new study shows robots are hurting employment and wages in the United States. The study was done by the National Bureau of Economic Research, and the study examined all kinds of industries. It started back in 1990 and lasted 17 years. And the study found with each new robot per 1,000 workers, it basically takes away about 3 jobs and reduces wages by as much as 0.5%. Now, the industry most affected by this, no surprise, manufacturing. It says it's about a loss of 670,000 jobs.
Here's a great example of what they're turning us into. Mind control technology which could turn humans into mindless cyborg super consumers. What could go wrong? As I mentioned earlier, I've been seeing a whole narrative play out over the last few months, and there's a lot of talk about our DNA. And now you get this right here. There's a new form of DNA, they say, discovered inside living human cells. I believe this is a subject you're going to be hearing a lot more about over the next coming months or so keep your eyes open. Another example of how all of this is connected comes to us from the story here. Bill Gates and other rich investors want to watch over Earth from space. This would literally be a prison planet, not just metaphorically, but also physically. It'd be the ultimate grid, the ultimate Big Brother all-seeing eye, able to watch anyone and everything at any time. Every week I do my own news type show, and every week there's a new story about these swingers clubs opening up, sex clubs opening up. Even some bizarre Hollywood sex cults have been exposed over the last several months. And here you have hundreds of sex enthusiasts to descend on Las Vegas for the world's biggest orgy. in an X-rated world record attempt. What exactly are they turning us into? But in this ever-increasing beast system, it's not only humans that'll be having sex, it's also the robots. Now they actually have a full-body moving sex cyborg. So many people have been thinking that this stuff is years away, even decades, but it's here, right now.
Tonight, would you want to live forever? How about your parents? Would you want to be able to ask their advice long after they're gone, or maybe even spend an afternoon with a deceased spouse?
As CBS 2 explores, cloning a loved one is no longer the stuff of science fiction because of digital immortality. Like many women, Bina Rothblatt doesn't like to talk about her age.
Well, when were you born?
I was first activated on 2010 to 3/21.
She does like to talk about her past.
I used to play piano and my parents pushed me into a recital.
When she's not joking around.
Why did the chicken go halfway across the road?
Bina is obviously not a real woman, but she does have the mind of one.
I think there'll probably come a time when robots like Bina will be living amongst us.
She's a clone, sharing not only the appearance of a very real woman named Bina Rothblatt, but also her exact memories, attitudes, and beliefs.
This is one opportunity for us to start thinking about changing the way we look at what it means to be human.
It's technology we've so far only seen in movies.
Self-awareness, manipulations. Now, if that isn't true reality, what is?
But in real life, Bina is one of the first clones to be implanted with a mind file, representing an actual person's consciousness. The robot can even see thanks to facial recognition software, so she actually knows who she's talking to.
You seem not interested.
She's the brainchild of the real Rothblatt's spouse, who could not fathom a life without her. Bruce Duncan is the managing director of the Terasem movement, a foundation started by the Rothblatts to further research in cloning minds.
Or maybe even someday, a couple hundred years from now, into new bodies that are based on the DNA of the original donor.
As many as 56,000 people have already signed up on the Foundation's website to start uploading the contents of their minds with the hopes of being cloned.
It's fascinating, but I think this has a lot of emotional, psychological ramifications.
Neuropsychologist Dr. Sanam Hafez says while the technology is incredible, it has the potential to interfere with the natural progression of human life.
The way this world works is someone passes away, you get divorced, you move on.
Duncan says they still have decades of work ahead to perfect cloning, but in the future, the robots will not only be able to make the same facial expressions as the people they're modeled after, they will even sound like them. And if you, like me, are completely creeped out, I understand.
But the veil continues to lift. We had this story right here, and this is huge. The government accidentally released documents on psychoelectric weapons. When you really get into this article, they're also talking about remote mind control on the public. Gee, I wonder if anything like that could be connected to this grid that they're creating all around the world right now. Now let this one sink in. Really let this one sink in. Over 8 million U.S. children now on psychiatric drugs. We're seeing what they're turning us into. So with all those children on these psychiatric drugs, is it any surprise we get stories like this? 7 Prince George's County elementary students cut wrists at school, and they still haven't told us why. And here's just another example. A little 8-year-old boy took a knife to school and he slashed 3 other students with it. Still didn't give an explanation. And obviously gender roles are being reversed, they're being blurred, all the lines are being blurred. We get stories like this, why more men are wearing makeup than ever before.
Developing this morning, a fight over bathroom access. A Wisconsin teen who is transgender is taking his school district to federal court.
This morning, CBS 2's Sandra Torres joining us live outside the Dirksen Federal Building with a closer look at that case. Good morning, Sandra.
Good morning, Aaron and Lionel. No decision today, but attorneys for both sides gave oral arguments today in the U.S. Court of Appeals. And here's the case. The student is 17-year-old Ashton Whitaker, that's his name, and he's a senior at Kenosha Unified School District. He has identified himself as a boy for the last 3 years. Whitaker sued the district over its restroom policy, saying that he should be allowed to use the boys' restroom. A federal judge ruled in his favor back in September, but the district appealed that decision. So today, an attorney representing the district said their bathroom policy goes by the birth certificate of each student, meaning if Whitaker changes his birth certificate, he can be allowed in the boys' bathroom. But in Wisconsin, he'll need to have sex change surgery in order for that to happen. We spoke to Whitaker's mother after the hearing.
There's still a lot of hate in the world, a lot of misunderstanding, definitely, but there's still a lot of hope, and that's what we kind of want to come away with. We feel very positive about how it went, how things have been going.
Happening today, lawyers for a suburban student fighting for full locker room access will be back in court this morning.
The Palatine student is transgender and is already allowed to use the girls' bathroom. CBS 2's Mike Puccinelli live outside the Daily Center with details for us. Good morning, Mike.
Good morning. Late this morning, this case, which has already drawn global attention, will once again take center stage here at the Daily Center. Nova Madej, who is transgender, may learn today whether she'll be able to openly change in the girls' locker room at Palatine High School. Right now, the high school senior is allowed access to the locker room, but is required to change for gym class in a privacy stall. The district and some parents argue that the high school has already done enough to accommodate Madej. But the high school senior and her lawyers say she should be granted unfettered access to the locker room. Madej said outside court last week that not having complete access has caused her great emotional harm.
It's caused a lot of anxiety and depression. There were days that I could barely make it through school because I wasn't able to change in the locker room.
We define a tyranny as ruled by one person. We live in a democracy where the interests of the majority are important.
Now, during last week's hearing, the judge seemed to be focused on the fact that Madej is still anatomically male, but her lawyers argue that that has no bearing whatsoever on her gender identity and should not be considered in this case. We expect the decision possibly as soon as today. The hearing set to get underway at 11:30. Reporting live outside the Daily Center, Mike Puccinelli, CBS 2 News. Aaron, Marissa?
Okay, Mike, thank you.
In this new beast system, there will be perversions aplenty. Disturbing child-sized sex robot reduces BBC presenter to tears. So here's another story and just another example of how the world is really spinning out of control. You find it in every sector, in every area of this reality. It seems like things are going a little haywire. Even right here, fistfights, nude masturbation, and dead pets. What's going on with airline travel? That's another one of those subjects. It seems like every week there's something crazy happening on a plane somewhere, right? And here's another interesting trend. This story just came out April 5th of this year, 2018. China banning online Bible sales amid crackdown on religious freedom. And then, just a few weeks later, April 24th of this year, 2018, we find this story. Could California ban the Bible? There's a lot of people trying to discredit the story and say it's nothing to worry about, nothing to see here, but I find it interesting we see that synchronicity. God is under attack, Christ is under attack, the Bible is under attack in this system. This story right here, Jesus was a drag king with queer desires, claims a theology professor. And I'm sure some of you heard this one as well. Grace Cathedral's Beyonce Mass, yes, Beyonce, draws faithful crowd of 900 plus. So if this isn't an indication of how broken the religious system is, not just in America but all around the world, I don't know what is. We are living the as above, so below paradigm. Everything which was once considered good or normal is considered the opposite now. Our reality is changing quickly. Mankind is trying to play God, and in doing so is creating an abundance of abominations. So again, it's a world without women moves closer as human eggs are grown in lab for the first time. Which connects directly with this story here. The end of men. Male sex chromosome is slowly disappearing. So I'll end with this story right here, which is crazy. Samsung reveals bizarre Unspoil Me hypnotherapy site it claims can make you forget TV shows so you can watch them again. So you can stay programmed, you can stay dumb, you can stay focused on entertainment. I just wanted to draw a few connections through some of these stories I found and really ask the question, what exactly is it that they are trying to turn us into? I look forward to hearing your thoughts below in the comments section. As always, guys, once again, thank you so much for watching my videos. Take care of yourselves out there. It's a crazy world. Don't live in fear of this. Try to have a sense of humor. Go with the flow. We'll keep our eyes open, okay? Take care.